Hi, I'm dead, and as we all know, I've gone to gamer hell, which is an eternity trapped in the menus from PlayStation 1 demo discs. This is appropriate because not only am I being punished for my various game-related crimes, such as, I don't know, buying a Wii U, it gives me a good excuse to do another episode of the Indie Demo Disc, my attempt to create a digital, modern version of classic demo discs. This is episode 2. If I'm numbering them, I can't remember if I am. Oh, there's green in my shirt. I hope that doesn't have any effect on this. This is the show where I compile a list of games that you can try yourself for free. It's a small collection of game demos, freeware experiences, and mods for existing games. There are download links for everything I'll talk about in this episode in the description below. I really would encourage you to download these games, especially ones that you think you'll be interested in. This is a really fun project for me to do, and I think you'll get a lot of fun out of experiencing these free games yourself as well. Anyway, it's time for my 10 o'clock goblin poking me with a stick because I'm in hell. Enjoy the video, and I will see you, I don't know, at the end, probably. I got a green screen, is that obvious? So let's start off with a demo that's a little different to the kind of thing I normally cover on this. It's a demo for a fan project that's been in development for a very long time, and as is always the case with projects like this, there's no guarantee it will ever come out if Square Enix's lawyers ever catch wind of it. Tomb Raider: The Dagger of Xian is a full-blown fan remake of Tomb Raider 2, built from the ground up in the modern Unreal Engine. It plays like a sequel to the brilliant Tomb Raider Anniversary, which was a remake of the original game that current series developer Crystal Dynamics released all the way back in 2007. That game was a wonderful reinvention of the original game, swapping out the first Tomb Raider's clunky early 3D movement for more modern PlayStation 2 third-person action mechanics. And it worked really, really well. It was a beautiful game, it played brilliantly, it was basically just the original Tomb Raider built from the ground up in the Tomb Raider Legend engine. But obviously, after Crystal Dynamics made Anniversary, they went on to make Underworld, which was not massively well received, and the success of Uncharted made Square Enix kind of push Crystal Dynamics in a different direction, and we ended up with the modern Tomb Raider reboot trilogy, which are good. I do like those games, but there was something magic about those original Tomb Raider games, right? They had a very specific style and tone. Their focus wasn't really on combat so much as exploration and environmental puzzles, which is a better fit for a game about raiding tombs. I think if there's one thing that the modern reboot trilogy gets wrong, it's its overemphasis on combat, and that's definitely because Uncharted is a mass murder simulator, which Naughty Dog really love making. So playing this Tomb Raider 2 fan reboot is incredible. For starters, it looks absolutely gorgeous. The developers have really captured the environments that were originally shown off in Tomb Raider 2 in their blocky PlayStation 1 glory, but the lighting and the environmental design here is fantastic. It looks absolutely stunning. And Lara herself looks really good too. It's a nice character model of the original Lara Croft, who we've only seen in modern graphics in Fortnite, which is wild when you think about it, but the original Lara Croft isn't relevant in 2021, according to Square Enix anyway, but I think this fan game makes a really strong case for a return to the original design of Lara Croft, both physically and mechanically. Not only is it nice to just revisit this specific style of gameplay with a focus on exploration and environmental puzzles, it's also just nice to revisit this interpretation of Lara herself. I forgot, honestly, that the original Lara Croft is an Olympic-winning gymnast. She's literally doing this for the sake of being an archaeologist, and you know, she's headstrong and confident. She's an established part of this world. We don't need to see her origin story, we just know who she is and what she's all about. And controlling her again as she leaps around these crumbling tombs and doesn't give a shit about destroying them. I don't know, it's nice. So this demo isn't very long, it's very much a proof of concept. You can finish it in 45 minutes or so, but it's wonderful. It's absolutely worth grabbing this because you never know when lawyers will get involved. But I think more than anything, it makes a very strong case for Square Enix to revisit this specific part of Lara's history. And they actually did announce recently that Lara Croft is coming back in some form, a new revised form that is influenced strongly by her original outings, so hopefully we'll see something similar to this game in an official capacity. But as it stands, the amount of work that's gone into this already, they should just pay these to make this game in general, to be honest. It's wonderful, try it out, highly recommend this. Next up we have Echostasis Prologue. As an atmosphere piece, Echostasis is incredible. I guess it's a horror game, it's probably the genre I would attach to it anyway, but nothing overtly scary happens. However, saying that, its use of sound and visuals gave me chills for the entire time I was playing it. It has blocky PlayStation 1 style visuals, but it pairs them with incredible reflections and light before smothering them in a VHS style effect. And the result is this amazing style and sense of visual identity. It's not doing anything particularly unique. I mean, so many indie games these days have blocky PlayStation 1 style graphics, but Echostasis pairs it with more modern technology to a point where it just works really well in the context of this world. The sound as well has like looping, warped music and distant screams in the background. It is super, super creepy. You play as an engineer who goes into these AI generated realities and basically just has a wander around. The alternate realities are pretty nightmarish, and I mean that in the sense of actual nightmares where nothing overtly scary happens, but you're left with this permanent tense sense of dread. I don't know about you, but I always feel like some of my worst nightmares are ones where it's more of an atmosphere that feels oppressive and terrifying. You know, instead of, oh no, a devil just bit my dick off or whatever. You can also talk to a computer and can only communicate with it using specific commands that the computer itself slowly reveals to you as you chat. It's honestly truly wonderful. As an atmosphere piece, this Prologue is worth trying out. I'm terrible at horror games, but this has really caught my eye. Can't wait to see more, and I will watch the full version on YouTube because there's no way I can play this if it ramps up the tension anymore. I had to play this with the curtains open at 10 AM. Can't do horror games, but I still absolutely rate this one. I won't say much about this next game because the game itself is, again, more of a proof of concept, freeware thin, rather than a demo for a full experience, but Code Dino-H really caught my eye, and I'm really happy that I played it. It plays homage to classic PS1 survival horror games, specifically Dino Crisis, which is one of my all-time favourite game series. You play as a researcher in this Arctic base. All of your pals have been ripped to shreds by a mysterious creature, and that mysterious creature is obviously a raptor. You walk around these fully 3D environments. It looks just like the original Dino Crisis, or maybe the original Silent Hill. It has tank controls, it has a fixed camera, it has all of that good 90s survival horror stuff that you love, and by you I mean me. I love this stuff so much. Art design's really nice, the sound's really nice, the dinosaurs themselves are rendered in a very authentic PlayStation 1 way. You have no weapons, it's all stealth based, you have to sneak past the dinosaurs, and they have pretty good AI, which I didn't really expect, which I think is because the game is presenting something that seems so authentically 90s. I didn't think that the dinosaurs would have modern day artificial intelligence. This will take you 20 minutes to finish, but I think the team behind this game should maybe try and pursue a full version, because I would absolutely love to see them tackle a full-blown Dino Crisis style game. I discovered Demon Turf Trials purely by accident, and I'm so happy that I did. Demon Turf Trials is a 3D platformer where you play as a little girl demon who's decided that she hates the kin of demons, or the devil, I can't remember what he's referred to specifically, and just wants to beat everyone up and become the supreme leader of the underworld, which is a great concept for a game. Its visuals caught my eye initially. Your main character is a 2D sprite who navigates through a fully 3D world, which, considering the game is a movement-based 3D platformer, you wouldn't really expect that to work, but it does. It works super well, and it lends the the game this impeccable visual style. A 3D platformer can only be measured by its movement mechanics, and I'm extremely happy to say that even in this demo form, Demon Turf has some of the best movement I've ever experienced in a 3D platformer. You can jump, you can double jump, you can hover by turning into this weird spinning creature thing. You can jump once, turn into the spinning creature thing, and then leap out of that creature into a long jump, which just feels amazing. And you can dive forward and roll to try and gain more speed. You can turn into a little squid to go underwater. Basically, this game made me think of Mario. And that is such a huge compliment to give an indie game, because if I'm playing an indie game and it's reminding me of something developed by Nintendo purely through the way it feels to play, that is such a difficult thing to achieve, but they've absolutely nailed that core movement. Graphically, it looks amazing. I really love how everyone's just a flat 2D image on a 3D world. It's an aesthetic that I've seen attempted a few times. It has Spyro-style hub worlds where you go into portals to play individual levels. There's collectible sweets to find because she just wants to pinch sweets from other demons, and who can blame her. The only criticism I think I have of the game is it doesn't have a traditional checkpoint system. You place down your own checkpoints in a level, but you only have a certain amount of checkpoints to place down. Now, I understand the thinking behind this mechanic, and I know that being able to put down your own checkpoints isn't a new thing. I think Ori does it as well. But when you don't know how long the levels are and you can't pick up those checkpoints or remove earlier ones, I don't know, it just feels a bit frustrating to me. I was playing one level where I was trying to navigate this spinning tower and I used up all my checkpoints too early on, thinking I was near the end of the level, and then I was stuck in a really frustrating starting point and I kept dying and I had to restart the level to try and space them out more. Again, I understand the thinking, but for me it just feels a bit frustrating. I'd rather they put in their own checkpoint systems because they understand the levels, they should understand the pacing of the levels. Maybe this is a weird complaint, I don't know. Play the game yourself, let me know what you think. I just think that's the only part of the game that left me feeling a little bit frustrated. But other than that, this is an absolute treat of a game. This is really high on my radar now. I can't wait to see what the full version is like. It's funny, it's got a nice atmosphere, it has great music, Splatoon-inspired music, which is absolutely rad. This demo will take you about an hour to finish. It has a couple of levels from the game in it for you to mess around in. On top of that, it has a time trial mode where the developer is swapping out a level every week, so you can compete for the best time on global leaderboards. This is a very substantial demo for a game that I think is going to be very special indeed. So this is absolutely one to try out. I first saw Power Wash Simulator via a tweet. The developer had tweeted out a very short GIF of them using a power washer to clean some pavement stones, and I was on board just from that alone. I was like, yep, this looks like my kind of game. Thankfully, there is a very short demo that the developer has released that lets you play through 2 of the game's levels, and it's kind of everything you'd expect it to be. You are equipped with a number of different power washers. You're given a scenario in which there's a lot of mucky things to clean up, and you go about your business. You clean pavement tiles and garage doors and walls. To be honest, actually the first level is this house, and the entire house is grotty. It's like a plane full of shit exploded above it and coated the entire house in shit, and you're like the one person who can save this woman's house. It's narratively strange, which, I mean, do we need meaningful context in a power wash game? Probably not, right? The actual act of cleaning things up with a power washer is very meditative as you'd expect it to be. Watching power wash videos is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine because I find it just extremely satisfying to watch someone clean something up. And I think in general the game really nails that, and that's all the game has to do. If they released this now and it was just a game where you know, clean things, there's just like multiple levels where you clean things, I do think it would do extremely well. It has a very house flipper vibe in the sense that you take on jobs and then you turn up and complete them, get some cash and then leave. But I will say, I think it almost needs to be a little more fiddly, which is a really weird thing to say. So let's say I'm cleaning some tiles outside of a house. The game will tell me the percentage of the tiles that I've cleaned, and when I hit close to 100%, it will mark them as complete. I have multiple different power washers to choose from. I have one that's more like a hose pipe and one that's extremely precise. I can use the one that's like a hose pipe to clean the majority of the muck off the tiles, but I can only get into the grouting if I'm using the very precise power washer. This is when the game is at its best. It's making you use different tools for different situations to really dig out the grot and make slow progress towards a larger goal. The issue is when you turn to something like a huge house or the other level is a playground, it almost becomes too easy. Now, the methodical nature of it is always inherently satisfying, but you can just use the one with the wider radius to wander around and just get rid of all the muck pretty easily. Also, once you complete 30% of the entire level, you're given access to this absolute beast of a power washer that lets you just spray down everything and basically wipes all the dirt off it in one click. And I don't really know why they've added this in. Maybe it's just a demo thing, maybe they'll remove it from the final game, but if anything, they should be giving me more specific power washers for specific purposes, not just this one-size-fits-all one that effectively feels like I'm using a cheat code. Now, let's face it, I'm criticizing a game called Power Wash Simulator, but I do think there's something very inherently special about this idea that will appeal to a mass audience in the same way that House Flipper did, but it does need a little more nuance to it. Anyway, the demo was very good. I just listened to some podcasts for an hour and had a lovely time. If you like House Flipper, you'll really, really like what Power Wash Simulator is attempting to do. Next we have Angerfoot, which was by far the best game I played this time around. Angerfoot is basically Hotline Miami in first person. You have to navigate a series of rooms, killing enemies that die in one shot, utilising their dropped weapons to defeat other enemies, in order to reach a goal at the end of this maze of corridors. It is as aggressive and as violent as Hotline Miami, and in turn is as addictive. You also die very quickly and you respawn instantly, although your health does automatically regenerate, so it is a little bit fairer than Hotline Miami in that sense. Everything about this game works. Like, every single aspect is perfect. The enemies are fantastic, they each have one weapon, and they're easily identifiable, partly because, let's say, the shotgun guy has a head that's just a middle finger pointing at you, and all the rest are like weird fishmen or dogs with pistols, or the enemy design is fantastic. It has this thumping soundtrack that's just pumping in your ear the whole time, but it's also dynamic, so when you kill all the enemies in a room, the electronica dissipates and leaves the beat behind, and then ramps right up when you kick open a door and find more enemies. How have I not mentioned the kick? You can kick. Your only starting weapon is a kick, and more games should have a kick in them. Duke Nukem did this like 25 years ago or whatever, and just every game should allow you to kick people because it's just great fun to see your little leg swing in front of you and whack someone in the nuts. The game is very fast paced, it's incredibly satisfying, the fact you respawn instantly just keeps that gameplay loop feeling really fresh and exciting and addictive. I have no idea if the developer has any intention of making this a full game. This prototype has 10 levels and is pretty much a complete game. I mean, you could experience this and walk away pretty happy, put it that way. I played through it 3 times because I was just so desperate for more of it, so I think they absolutely could spin this out into an entire game. It's brilliant. I absolutely love Angerfoot. Let's end with a mod. Why not? Demon Throne by WG Realms is a total conversion mod for Duke Nukem 3D that is one of the most ambitious total conversion mods I've ever played. With 2 playable characters to choose from, Duke Nukem and this, I don't know, barbarian guy, you're transported to this fantasy world and you're tasked with killing a load of demons to basically save the world. The amount of stuff that's in this game is incredible. Duke Nukem 3D came out in 1996. It was a very basic, early first-person shooter, and Demon Throne expands it in ways that I didn't even think was possible using the build engine. It has multiple currency systems, it has RPG mechanics, it has a load of brand new weapons to play around with, including a gun that lets you aim down its iron sights, which feels so weird to do in a build engine game. It borrows really liberally from other shooters from the era, including just using assets and graphics from Doom, which is really weird to see buttons from Doom in a build engine game. There's 25 levels here. 25 levels, 20 different monsters, 10 bosses. It has a dialogue system with multiple characters and like a hub area with NPCs walking around. I played about 3 hours of this. I got absolutely hooked on it, mainly because that aforementioned rifle that you can aim down iron sights with is one of the best feeling guns I've ever used in a video game ever. You aim down the sights, you can pop the heads off of enemies. I think the gun is called the Headshotter, actually. That's kind of its whole deal. It's just rad. This is just a rad first-person shooter in general. If you love old first-person shooters, if you love Duke Nukem 3D specifically, you should absolutely try this out. You don't even need Duke Nukem 3D to play it. You can just download the EXE and dive right into it. This is the very definition of a great free game. Mod communities rule. Like, the things that people can do with mods is amazing. What a game. What a goddamn game. Hello, welcome to the end of the video. I did good in my Goblin Stick session, and now I'm in gamer heaven, which, as we all know, is an Xbox 360 dashboard. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, every single game I've talked about today can be downloaded for free via the links in the description. Make sure you check them out. If you enjoyed any of these games, maybe seek out their full versions on Steam and wishlist them. I'm sure the creators will really appreciate that. If you find any freeware experiences, mods, demos for upcoming games that you think are really cool, tell me in the comments and send them my way. I'm at Meevil on Twitter. I'm more than happy for you to bombard me with fun, free things to check out as part of this series. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe, share it. These things all help me out. These are metrics that make the algorithm. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely week. I hope this turns out okay, because I've never done this before, and this was not cheap. Bye.